Stop saying you only have five senses. That's Aristotelian nonsense. That's holding you back. How we understand human hardware. Modern neuroscience just confirmed you're actually running between 22 and 33 distinct sensory inputs, and knowing them unlocks a massive upgrade for your health and spatial awareness. So the five senses model is obsolete, and we aren't just seeing and hearing, we are processing. Okay, I'm going to get a lot of this wrong. Proprioception, limb position, vestibular data, balance, and interoception, internal organ statuses in real time. It's a shift from viewing the brain as a simple 5-channel receiver to a massive multi-sensory integration engine. And this explains everything from why VR motion sickness happens to why airplane noise makes tomato soup taste better. Understanding this allows us to hack your own experiences. What do you think about this, John?
I think this is cool. This makes total sense. I don't think that this is sci-fi. And this just speaks to how science has advanced. And so now they've recognized that many of the bodily systems previously lumped under general systems or general senses are in fact functionally separate sensory modalities. So for example, what we call touch is actually a complex grouping of sensory inputs: pressure, vibration, heat, cold, pain, itch, all that stuff, right? Each with dedicated receptors and neural pathways. Similarly with taste and smell, they involve multiple submodalities and interactions rather than a single unified sense. So beyond the five senses, researchers identify sensory systems, and that's what you were talking about. So proprioception, I think, I could be wrong, is the subconscious sense of where your body parts are in space, allowing you to touch your nose with your eyes closed. There's vestibular sense, which is balance and spatial orientation, which is mediated by the fluid and hair cells in the inner ear. Interoception, which is sensing internal states of the body like heart rate, hunger, breath, and bladder fullness. Nociception, which is the perception of pain, which alerts the body to potential damage. And so these systems are physiologically distinct from classic senses and have dedicated processing pathways. So they suggest that if each of these sensory channels is counted separately, reach anywhere between 22 and 33. And so I think this is cool. So just to add another layer of complexity to all of this, it lies in how these senses interact. So human perception, it's not a sense of independent channels firing in isolation. Instead, it's sensory inputs that are continuously integrated in the brain to form a unified and coherent experience. So for example, your sense of taste is heavily influenced by smell and touch, which is why food flavors seem richer or different when aromas are present. So like this just, it makes total sense to me. What about you?
It makes sense. I guess I just, never really thought about this because, what is that feeling when you're internally, your stomach is grumbling or, you're not, or you're feeling hot or you're, so I guess I never really thought about those types of things as different types of perception, but I guess it's like the dashboards of old 1970 sedans, you just had a speedometer and a fuel gauge, the modern reality is your body is more like a Formula One car. You have hundreds of telemetry sensors like monitoring tire pressure, touch and pressure, engine heat, the thermoception, chassis tilt, the vestibular and internal fuel chemistry, the interoception, all feeding into a central computer simultaneously. And I think when you start looking into this, you're going to start to see more of the science around why they say your gut is your second brain, and it may have more control over you than you think because it has control over several types of these perceptions, senses.
Yeah. And like, I think this is great, not only for understanding this for building robotics and robots, right? But understanding these for practical implications for medicine, psychology, and rehab. Like for instance, disruption in interoception they can be linked to anxiety and eating disorders, and balance disorders stem from vestibular dysfunction. So if you can recognize that there's a richer sensory landscape, that actually could help clinicians diagnose and treat conditions that were previously misunderstood. I think this has huge implications for the medical world.
I think it does too. Like it changes. I think it has effects on all areas of life that we just haven't realized yet.
Yeah.
Like if the sound in an airplane cabin can make a taste in tomato juice more strong while softening other tastes, what other sounds, what other pressure, what other things can change your feeling and senses and enhance or retard other feelings, right, or senses? So imagine restaurants that have the sound or volume or pressure or smells or the things that now they know will maximize the experience of the dishes they're serving that evening. Or maybe your dentist does certain things that reduces your pain receptors based on your environment around. There's a lot of interesting things when you start looking at how your body interacts, and you can really start changing things in your life when you start realizing what is controlling these things. And can you change your mood, or can you change how you react to things around you as a result of this?
Absolutely. Yeah. Can they introduce things for therapy? Can they introduce different sensory things to help with recovery? Like there's a whole bunch of, there's a plethora of opportunity here for changing the way that people are treated, for treatments. This is phenomenal. I'm so excited about this. I love this.
So the vestibular system balance is basically a biological accelerometer and a gyroscope located in your inner ear, using fluid inertia to detect head rotation, gravitational pull, identical physics to your smartphone's screen rotation sensor. The McGurk effect proves your brain trusts vision over audio. If you see a video of lips saying ga, but you hear the sound ba, your brain will force you to hear da. It's a hardware bug in sensory integration. So this has been tested. It's called the McGurk effect. Look it up. Humans technically have a magnetoreception hardware or cryptochromones in the eye, similar to migratory birds, but the software seems to be disabled or subconscious in modern humans. So we don't have to migrate south for the summer like they do.
Yeah.
So is counting, itch, proprioception it's called, and pain, nociception as separate senses, just semantic bloating? Or some argue that these are just subgenres of touch, making 33 senses claim a bit more academic and maybe more inflated than it really is. So your high performance machine running dozens of background processes, start treating your body like it. Now that you know you have 33 senses, which one is malfunctioning for you today? Is it your balance, your internal hunger gauge, or plain old eyesight? Let us know in the chat what you're going to work on and what you think of these studies. What do you got going on, John?
Yeah, just plugging away, helping companies with government funding, attending events, probably startup drinks or Flowgrammer events. How about you, Craig?
Lots of stuff going on. I honestly don't know when this is going out. I have to check. I think it's going to go out in April. But there's all sorts of stuff going on. If you don't know about OpenClaw, it's the latest AI automation agent that's taken the world by storm in 2026. And OpenClaw Toronto chapter just launched. And we have all sorts of events going on. So check out openclawto.com. Our first demo night is April 14th. We have a builder cafe on April 10th. We have a bunch of other events. There's updates every day. We've deconstructed the latest 2 betas over the weekend that was launched in OpenClaw and what you should do about them. There's a bunch of articles over there. Go check that out. We're also over at flowgrammer.ca, where we do N8N automations. We run the Flowgrammer community and do Builders Hub and connectivity for AI and business automation agents. And for everything else, head over to Toronto Starts. where we hook up startups and investors at our startup investor drinks. We do mentoring, we do workshops, we have a list of investors. There's a whole bunch of content over. You can also book me over there if you want a meeting with me to talk about whatever, help your startup. Check out torontostarts.com. But John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where should they go and what is that?
Yeah, non-dilutive funding. We're talking government grants, tax credits. Come find me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Right now is Shred Time, SRDD. But come reach out to me too if you've got a startup, if you've got a company. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and if they have company questions about their startup in general. Where do they find you, Craig?
Yeah, find me at torontostarts.com. But John, just before we go, something's open right now, and it's closing May 31st. Thank you. Can Export. And what?
Yeah. So
what
if
should
you have
people
at
know
least
about that?
300,000 in revenue in the previous year, and you're looking to expand outside of Canada, reach out to me, and we can put together. We can talk about an application for Can Export.
All the links we talked about will be in the show notes, wherever you're watching this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.